how's it going? My name is Jay and welcome to the channel. Today we're back in Jurassic World Evolution in Nublar Emergent Biopark for our last build of this series. Today we're going to be introducing 3 new habitats in our Cretaceous Africa section. And we're going to be introducing a total of 5 new species, our final 5 species, into the park itself, with 3 of them being modded creatures and 2 of them being base game animals that I thought were pretty much accurate enough that I didn't need to mod them. And yeah, this is going to be the last one, so after this we're just going to have a tour of the park in the final episode, which should come out tomorrow, and then we'll be done. As far as this episode goes, we're going to talk about the creatures as usual, then we're going to watch them emerge from the hatchery, and then we're going to hop into the game and I'll show you around when we get there. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about what animals we are introducing today. First off, we're introducing my absolute favourite dinosaur of all time, the Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus is, of course, the largest carnivorous dinosaur we've discovered so far, and it's absolutely the single weirdest dinosaur there is. There's lots of strange ones, but Spinosaurus has to take the cake. We found so many new fossils recently, and this model, which was created by the user, let me just check that, use a digital duck on the Nexus. As usual, links will be in the description. This particular model is reflective of the fossils described by Ibrahim a couple of years ago, maybe 2014 I believe, which shows that Spinosaurus was a remarkably weird dinosaur, and we'll look at the model later on and you'll be able to see exactly what I mean. It has really short legs, which is strange, huge arms, this amazing long snout with this crest on it, and of course that huge spine, which is an even weirder shape than we initially thought. Like, I absolutely love this dinosaur. Spinosaurus is just my absolute favourite. I loved it when it came, when it was a thing in Jurassic Park 3. Of course that wasn't a particularly accurate depiction, but I still thought it was super cool as a creature. And in fact, I've got, like I mentioned in a previous episode, I even have a tattoo of a Spinosaurus skull because they're just the coolest, you know? They're just the absolute weirdest things, which is why I love them. Next on our list, we're introducing another Spinosaurid, which is the Suchomimus. The Suchomimus is going to be in a habitat with a couple herbivores. That's again because I am viewing it as a pure piscivore. In real life, it's probably a bit more opportunistic, but I imagine it'd be okay with a couple herbivore species here. We're just introducing one of them, and we're sticking with the base game model here. We're not modding it because the Suchomimus is already pretty accurate. It doesn't really need very many changes to make it more accurate. There's a modern Nexus that tightens up the proportions a little bit, but I thought, you know what, the base game one is already pretty good, so I'm happy to stick with that, and the skins are beautiful in the game as well. Probably easily some of the best there are. As for the 2 herbivores that will be going in with the Suchomimus, first up we have the Nigerosaurus, which is the smallest sauropod we're going to be having in the park. In fact, the smallest sauropod in the game. I didn't feel the need to change it with a mod because it's pretty good as is, and I love the model in the game because it's so chunky and just chubby and cute, so I love that, and it looks pretty accurate as far as proportions go. Could do with maybe a slightly longer tail, but I'm happy enough with it as is. And the next herbivore is the Auranosaurus, which is our sail-backed hadrosaur or iguanodontid, which was created by Jagged Fang Designs. This mod, of course, replaces the base game Auranosaur, and I really like it. It's got really interesting patterns. If there was a nitpick I had to find, it's that the eyes might be a bit too small, but I don't mind overall, and I think it looks really great either way. And that is 4 of our 5 species. Our final species we're introducing is to the 3rd habitat, and that is going to be our Carcharodontosaurus. So a big Carcharodontosaurid, which is kind of contemporary to these other animals, mainly Spinosaurus, and obviously occupies a much different niche. This is an animal that would be a lot more of a, it would hunt other large dinosaurs, essentially. It wouldn't be like Spinosaurus, which is probably more of a fish eater, probably would take on smaller dinosaurs. So that gets its own habitat. This mod was done by Mr. Troodon. It's part of that person's mod pack, which contains huge texture and model changes for loads of dinosaurs in the game. This one just tightens up the Carcharodontosaurus a bit, makes it have a better skull shape, just generally a bit better proportions. And honestly, I really love it. There's also very minor skin changes, and they make it look a lot more interesting as an animal. So very happy with that. As far as numbers go, we do have 2 Carcharodontosaurus living together, we have 2 Spinosaurus living together, and we have a whole bunch of herbivores living with 1 Suchomimus, basically. As far as habitat design goes, we've got 3 big habitats here. The Carcharodontosaurus habitat, I wanted it to be very hilly, very craggy, kind of... It almost looks like it's been built into a bit of a crater. The Spinosaurus habitat is this huge open marshland. I wanted it to be really big with this huge lake in the middle, and I wanted it to look very swampy, which is kind of how we always expect Spinosaurus to be living. And as far as the herbivore habitat goes, that's pretty straightforward, very narrow habitat with a lake at the end, which is where the Suchomimus tends to hang out. And yeah, that's about it for this. We also introduced a tour vehicle actually, and that just goes through both the herbivore habitat and the Spinosaurus habitat, which I assume would be somewhat safe enough, considering the Spinosaurus, even though they're large, they probably tend to stick to themselves and just hang out by the lake. And it does not go through the Carcharodontosaurus habitat because that might be a bit too dangerous. But yeah, otherwise that's it for this part of the episode. Of course, now we're going to watch the dinosaurs emerge from the hatchery, and you can look at the models, and then we're going to hop into the game itself. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a second. Alright everyone, here we are in the game itself. Let's have a look at what we've been building today. So as you can see, the park is pretty much complete now actually. There's really not much else I can think of that we would need to add. Let's quickly go over some of the more minor additions. I added in a greenhouse just over here, because I think the greenhouse is honestly a really nice building. And just over here it looks pretty cool. Right next to the operations center, but also close to the guest area. Kind of makes it look like a building guests might want to visit. And it gave me an excuse to put down these plants, which didn't really fit the vibe of the park, but I really like them nonetheless. Like, I think they're pretty cool plants. In fact, I think this the terrain mod has actually changed the bark of the trees to make them look a bit more temperate. Yeah, pretty solid. Anyways, let's have a look at... Actually, you know what? Let's just look at the park as a whole for a second. We are going on a proper tour next episode, but still, this is a pretty cool look at a finished park, essentially. But yeah, so one thing I've added as well is this maintenance road. Obviously, in the game, guests will use it as well, but you can see this grey road that leads up the central entrance plaza and comes up here. But if you're like here at the Innovation Center, you can always come out here, walk down this path. On the left, you'll have the Iguanodon Baryonyx habitat. On the right, you'll have the Metriacanthosaurus habitat. And you'll enter our Cretaceous Africa section. And first off, this is a great view actually, because we have all our herbivores just chilling together in this little pond. So we have the Aranosaurus by Jagged Fang Designs, and it is beautiful. I really love the patterning with this white kind of jagged striping and spotting along the back. Just looks really nice. Once again, the only nitpick I might have is that the eye is really tiny. Like maybe a bit too tiny, but otherwise it's really good. And we got a few different skins as well. We got these basic skin patterns, and then we have these ones, which are the wetland, I believe. which I really like as well. It's a lot more green. I specifically like that kind of band of really bright yellowish green underneath the main white stripe. I think that's a really cool kind of highlight of the skin pattern. And yeah, we got, I can't remember how many we have, maybe 8, something like that. And of course we have our Nigerosaurus, which are our really tiny sauropods. And they are so cute and so chubby. Oh, I love them. They're just so adorable because they're so tiny. You don't expect sauropods to ever come in sizes quite like this. Like, this is probably, like, body-wise, maybe the size of a hippo. Maybe a bit bigger, of course, but still, very much reminds me of a long-necked hippo. And we got 2 skins here. We got the wetland and the jungle, I believe. Yep. And they're both really nice skins, because sauropods don't tend to have the brightest skins in the base game, but the Nigerosaurus really does, and I really like it. Anyways, let's go further down this habitat. Of course, you do have a viewing gallery, and you can have a look as well, but don't think anything's here. Oh, actually, yeah, we've got 2 of our Nigerosaurus just chilling, having a meal, just vibing, as usual. We go further down here, we of course have the big lake, and you can see one of our tour vehicles going through. And generally the herbivores don't come here super often. They do once in a while, but they tend to stick further up. I think they are scared off by the Suchomimus, which is right here actually. Let's have a look at him. Suchomimus is probably one of my favorite animals in the base game. Without a mod, it's already one of the more accurate ones. Like, even the hand position isn't too far off. The skins are all really beautiful. I think these skins were taken directly from the Jurassic World website that came out in 2015. Very much like that Baryonyx mod we talked about last episode. But yeah, Suchomimus is really quite something. I really like it. Just the whole look of the animal, the sleekness of it, the patterning, it just looks so good. And of course it decides to go in the trees where we can't see it. There's only one of him here, and he does eat from this fish feeder. Oh boy, that frame rate. Sorry about that. But yeah, I decided to make this whole area, the whole Cretaceous Africa section, just look quite marshy, so I added a lot of plants to the water, avoided using any overly temperate looking trees, minus a few redwoods here and there. And I think it works. I think it does look quite marshy and swampy, which is nice. Of course, then if you're a guest, you can walk along this path. Having seen the herbivores, you come to this kind of small plaza with another viewing gallery that shows you the Carcharodontosaurus habitat. Let's have a look inside, and you can see the 2 of them walking back there. These guys are super cool. Not the biggest fan of them in the base game. They have a bit of a weird head shape and this like singular spike on their head, which makes them look a little bit like a unicorn, which is not really the vibe I'm going for with mega predators. But overall, I think they're pretty cool. I like the habitat. It's very wiggly and wobbly in terms of terrain, very sandy and rocky. And let's just have a look at the animals themselves. Here is the jungle variant, which is really nice. This is the base game skin, but it has been touched up a bit by the mod author. And I really like the spikes on the back, very much like an iguana. And I love the dark colors around the head as well. It just looks really good. Let's see if we can find the other one. I think they're both in the trees at the moment, so we'll come back to them. But yeah, I really like this habitat. As always, I did the thing where I have the edges covered in trees so you can't really see the fencing. Let's have a look again and see if we can, just from the viewing gallery. And you can see from the viewing gallery, you can't really see much of the fencing. You can see some on the left, but otherwise if you look dead ahead, you can't see them that well. Which is the whole vibe I'm going for. And of course, finally, the Spinosaurus habitat, which is the biggest one. It stretches right from left to right off the screen right now, and it has this big lake in the middle, a smaller lake up here, and a pond right at the top hidden by the trees. So the Spinosauruses definitely have loads of water, and there's 2 of them in here. And they're also missing at the moment. I have no idea where they are. They do tend to stick in the trees a lot, so they might be back there somewhere. Let's have a look and see if we can find them. Huh. Don't see them anywhere. Oh, that might be one of them. No? Wow. Yeah. For the largest carnivores in the park, I didn't expect them to be able to hide so well. Anyways, let's have a look at map view while we wait for them to make an appearance. So, as you can see, we have obviously the large Spinosaurus habitat, which the tour does go through, the herbivore paddock with the Suchomimus, and of course the Carcharodontosaurus habitat. And you can see the whole park is now pretty much filled up with very little empty space, so I'm quite happy about that. Of course, in the next episode, we will go on a full tour of the park. I'll show you everything. We will go on the tour rides as well and just kind of explore the park that way. But as for today, we're just going to talk about the Cretaceous Africa section, if the dinosaurs ever want to make an appearance. Come on, guys. Oh, actually, there we go. There's the other Carcharodontosaurus, just asleep here. I really like this skin as well. It's very nice mottled yellow-green with these really lovely red splotches near the head, which I think looks really nice. So we have two of them. And once again, I use different skins to kind of emulate sexual dimorphism. And here's our Spinosaurus out and about. As you can see, the model is really, really cool. It's very much based on the Nisa Ibrahim paper that describes Spinosaurus with much shorter legs, really beefy arms, a more narrow skull, and they've included the crest here. The mod author Digital Duck has done a really great job. I am using two base game skins. This is the wetland and the other one is the step pattern. And I think it just looks so cool. Like, I love the skull shape. It's a lot more narrow now, a lot more... I don't know, it just looks a lot better. One thing I don't particularly like about the base game skins is they have these crocodile-like scoots near the spine, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I think they look a bit odd. One more thing they've done here is they extended the tail. One issue with a lot of Jurassic World Evolution dinosaurs is they have really short tails for what they would have had in real life. So I like that a lot of mods do extend the tail out. It makes them look so cool. And yeah, I just love this Spinosaurus design. It looks beautiful. Just looks impressive, you know, like a proper spine, you know, a real life Spinosaurus. Man, I would give anything to actually have seen a Spinosaurus in real life. Imagine that. That would have been, honestly, such a sight. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the animals in this episode. In fact, the animals for this whole park. I'm very happy with how this park has turned out. And I'm really thankful for everyone who followed along and enjoyed this park as we went along. This isn't going to be the last park build I do for Jurassic World Evolution. Of course, I am going to eventually get back into it, build more parks. I might even do individual mod showcases as they are released, because there are some very cool mods that are being worked on by really talented people in the community. There's in fact an experimental feathered raptor mod being worked on, which would be incredible if it came to fruition. So if that gets released, I will definitely cover that on the channel. But once again, do hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much, by the way. We've just hit 200 subscribers on the channel, which is amazing. I'm so happy about that. Thank you so much. I know a lot of new subscribers have come on for the Jurassic World Evolution series. I do Jurassic World Evolution a decent amount, but the channel is definitely more Planet Zoo focused. But of course I'm willing to do both because I really do enjoy both games, especially when dinosaurs and animals are concerned. Like, they're just cool. And let's just, before we go, let's just admire this Spinosaurus a bit more because, holy cow, that is beautiful. Look at the eye. I really love the bird-like eye they've given it, as opposed to the more cat-like eye which it had in the base game. But yeah, just such a gorgeous animal. And I love this skin especially that came with the base game. Because of these really dark splotches near the head, makes it look very cool. And yeah, that's about it for today. We're going to have some cinematics now. As always, if you like the video, please do give it a like, comment below, tell me what your favorite part of the series has been. Any suggestion for future series. I do reply to all the comments, so I will definitely enjoy having a chat with you guys down below if you're interested. And if you enjoyed this content, you want to see more Jurassic World Evolution, more Planet Zoo, please do hit the subscribe button. We will have a full park tour tomorrow. And again, thank you so much for 200 subscribers. Cheers to 200 more. Fingers crossed. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.